Good morning. Hey, hi, how you doing? This is quite the top-down angle, but it's only because my tripod only goes so short. All right, well, you last saw me in the last vlog. Hey, hi, how are you doing? Good morning, darling. Did I say all of that? My brain is... We're back on the brain fog zombie-like train. If you saw me in my last vlog, we kind of had a day. We had 14 hours of sleep, unexpectedly. My body's trying to buy back all the lack of sleep from the previous videos before that, where my brain pattern is interrupting and causing this disruption in my speech behavior and my actions. Nonetheless, we're here and we're just trying to keep going. But in the last vlog, I had just got my hair done. This is the remnants of the night after. Not too shabby, eh? Not too shabby. What else did I do yesterday? Oh yeah, I got my nails done, so now I'm bare naked nails, but my toes are done. Is that all I did yesterday? And I returned something at the mall? Jesus, fuck, it felt like I did a lot more. And that, children, is the result of insomnia on the brain. Look no further to scientific studies. Come to the land of the YouTube onto my channel in my cozy corner of the internet, and I will demonstrate for you in pretty live time how sleep affects your decision making, your brain, your speech pattern, your behavior, your everything in between. So last night, I'm thinking like, ooh, I'm so tired all day. I'm gonna sleep so good. And I did. I fell asleep pretty easily, but then I woke up at 5 a.m. Not in a panic, thank God, but just like ooh, it's early. I'm still tired. And I was like, nothing's open this early. I was feeling like I could go get another chai latte. I could maybe go get some breakfast, but the closest thing to me opened at 7 a.m. So I said, whatever, it's only 2 hours away. I'll stay awake for it. And, we'll get up and we'll get going then. Of course, that doesn't happen. I end up waking up at 9:20. Mind you, I had a service scheduled at 9 a.m. for someone to come and clean the windows. Highly recommend. Once a year, if you live in a house, get your windows professionally cleaned, get your garage floor professionally cleaned, get your car fucking detailed. You can hire mobile detailing. It's around like $250 in the Twin Cities, Minnesota area. Obviously, cost of living and cost of services differ across wherever you live, but these are professional once a year cleanings that I highly recommend just to keep up with the maintenance and bask in the privilege and responsibility that you have to have a car, to have a house, whatever have you. Anyways, last night I had a fucking nightmare. The embarrassment, okay? So I'm supposed to be awake at 9 a.m. to let this person into my house to professionally clean my windows. This person has been ringing my doorbell. They've been calling me for 18 minutes. 18 minutes, which is 3 minutes longer than I would have sustained. After the 15-minute mark, I would have been skedat, bye, I'm charging you for the service, and you were a no-show, no call, no cancellation, whatever. But thank for the grace of God. This man's a little older. He was moving slow. I jolt up from this nightmare, which I'm going to get into. Give me a second. Throw on a robe, strip off my bonnet, run outside, realize he's not at the front door anymore, run to the garage, open the garage, I'm running outside. I'm like, wait, I'm so sorry. I had an alarm set and I was supposed to be awake and I was just deeps in the depth hell of a nightmare. And I'm so sorry I kept you waiting. Thank you so much for your grace and your patience. Like, please. Please do the service for me. I can't have another service worker cancel on me this week because earlier this week I had a service worker cancel on me, but that one was scheduled from 3 to 8 p.m. and they canceled because there's a fuck ton of construction going on outside and they blocked off one of the entrances, so they assumed that like no one could get in or out of the neighborhood, which what fucking dummy thinks you can't leave in and out your neighborhood when there's construction? I'm pretty sure that's like illegal. They can't just block you in when they're doing construction. Anyways, one of the entrances was blocked off, but one of the entrances was open, and I guess he just assumed there was one entrance to the neighborhood, which made sense because when he came here, it was giving nutsack for brains. I digress. I run outside to this window service worker and I say, thank you so much for your grace. I'm so sorry. Clearly, I'm disheveled. Please continue with the service. And he just laughs and he was like, that's okay. He was like, at least I'm glad I woke you up from your nightmare. And I said, me fucking too, because let me tell you about this nightmare. First of all, I'm 26 years old. I feel like I'm too old to be having nightmares. And I was gonna say the last 2 years of my life, I've had really bad nightmares, which is true. And also, I feel like I've always been an anxious sleeper. I've always had bad nightmares. Being asleep is a nightmare. Being awake in my living life some of the times is also a nightmare. So you can see why I'm not exactly like enthusiastic to be alive. And I'm actually looking forward to dying when the day comes. I consider it like an eternal rest where my consciousness will just flow back to the expanded consciousness, and I won't even need sleep or food or drink or anything because I will just return back to consciousness. Anyways, this nightmare that I had from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m., who knows how long it actually was, but the nightmare was that I was subleasing from one of my college roommates. And she had a 2-bedroom apartment, and there was like a primary bedroom and then like a guest bedroom. And I was staying in the guest bedroom like all by myself. And it was pretty messy. There was a lot of things. And then all of a sudden, some other girl came into the apartment and she was like, "What are you doing here?" And I was like, "What are you doing here?" "I'm subleasing for the summer." And she was like, "No, I'm subleasing for the summer. Like all my stuff is already here and I'm in the primary bedroom." And I just was like furious in the dream because I was like, did she not tell you? Like I roomed with her in college and like we already agreed on this thing and now you're just kind of like screwing me over and I'm out a place to live. So in the dream, I'm super angry and I'm frantically packing and I'm taking a bunch of shit. And I'm like, there's not even good shit to take in this stupid, dinky ass little apartment. The toilet paper I'm looking at is not up to the standard of the Xiaoxiong toilet paper that my mom buys me. I'm pissed. So I'm just waking up in this fury, in this panic, in this anger, this deep wound of betrayal that feels like it just got a dirty martini dumped inside of it. So that's why I'm starting today. Hello, hey, hi, good morning, darling. How are you doing today? This made me think as I was taking deep breaths, trying to ground myself back in my body, lighting that dream up in flames. I've recently been doing this visualization where things piss me off or I want to smash someone's face in and light them on fire. I do visually in my head. I let myself have the violent, gory imagery. And then after I let myself have that imagery, I set it aflame, and then instead of turning to ash in my head and using my imagination, it turns into sparkle dust. And then I take this sparkle dust and light and I like funnel it down this highway. And this specific highway has like certain markers of like my goals this year, which is a healthy body, growing my YouTube, and getting a boyfriend. So anything and everything, just all this energy, I'm like collectively funneling it down this highway, and I'm using all the energy of my life, things that I'm mad about, I'm angry about, and I'm lighting it aflame and allowing the light to pave the way to the goals, because where there is a will, there is a motherfucking way. And as I was doing that visualization and that imagery this morning, it made me think about how I have had the absolute shit roommates in college, and where else to tell the story and share my kalinkadink than on the land of the U and the tube. My first college roommate, freshman year roommate, I feel like most of us have a bad freshman year roommate. Honestly, bitch, if you went to a public university and you didn't have a bad roommate experience, did you really go? Did you really go? The freshman year roommate ended up being someone that I knew previously, which there's going to be a theme in the story where I keep rooming with people that I know, and I think that's the mistake. Well, the mistake is that I also didn't have boundaries either, and I just kept picking shit fucking losers to surround myself with, because that was the internal monologue I had of myself, was that I was a shit loser, so that's what I was attracting externally. But I knew my freshman year roommate. I'm going to tell you about all my roommates and all their shitty stories, and then we're going to see where the rest of this vlog brings us. So strap in, get a cup of tea, and get into it. I'm having my hot water in my Vagine mug. Now, I knew my freshman year roommate from summer camp. I did a high school summer camp. After sophomore year in high school, so it's my second year in high school, I started going to, we called it Black Camp. And it was a summer camp. It was like a pre-college pipeline camp, and it was for the business school at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, because they had like a 98% white male rate, and I guess some donors that had graduated were like, I want to see more diversity in the school, so I'm going to donate $10 million and you're going to do this program where you're going to bring in kids from diverse backgrounds, women of color. It could also be like if you were white and you were poor and you were a woman and you were like from the farmlands, that fell into the group. We had one of those. And yeah, you're just a minority. A lot of black guys, a lot of black girls, some Mexican girls, some Mexican guys, and like 4 Asian girls. 3 Asian girls. I'm forgetting the group. Anyways, every summer after our sophomore year in high school, we would go on campus and we would do camp-like activities. That's why we all collectively called it Black Camp. I knew a girl in that camp. We got on super well. So I went the summer after my sophomore year, the summer after my junior year, and then the summer after my senior year. So for 3 summers in a row, I'd seen this girl. I think I'd even like gone back. She lived in Chicago. I'd gone back to Chicago with her. We went to like Lollapalooza. We had a great time, and she was kind of like my best friend in the camp group. Oh my God, I'm remembering a crazy fucking story where our second year people got suspended for like having sex. What can you do when you bring a diverse group of horny teenagers together? She ended up being my freshman year roommate, and right off the bat, it was a terrible fucking start because it's one thing to be friends with someone, but when you live with someone or when you like full on travel with someone long term, you really see the ins and outs of like how they eat, how they behave. You kind of see like their shadows come to light, like all the deepest, darkest parts that they might keep to themselves will come out when you live with someone. And I feel like maybe that's why people have conflict freshman year, because it's like, ooh, I don't want to be dealing with your demons. Freshman year, right off the bat, we're in a rocky start because I bring in a 55-inch flat screen TV and I put it on a desk like opposite of our bed so that if we were both sitting, in our little twin beds, how dorm rooms are, we could be staring at this fat ass TV that took up the whole entire wall. And this made her have a mental breakdown because she thought that having this TV in our room would be a distraction, a mental distraction from our studies. And I said, girl, even if you study, you're not going to be studying 24/7. Like, you don't take a break to watch TV. I love watching TV. I love watching YouTube. I love watching movies. Like, I don't care how busy I am in life. There's still going to be time where I'm going to get to watch TV. Hold on, we'll resume the story. Okay, it's approximately 2 hours later. I had to let the service people in to clean the inside of the windows. I decided maybe this is a good time to have some breakfast, clean out my fridge. I'm motivated when people are inside cleaning my house. I'm like, let me get to cleaning some things. So I got some laundry in, did the dishes, cleaned out the fridge. 2 hours later, went on a walk. Here we are. I last left you off on the story about my freshman year college roommate. We're not going to give this pendeja much more. I put in this TV, which I feel like any other 18-year-old at the time freshly going to college to have a 55-inch TV in their dorm room would probably be kissing my feet and sucking the fart out of my butthole if I asked them to, as an appreciation and an expression of gratitude. But my freshman year college roommate wanted to go off the walls and say that, one, she didn't think we needed it because we had to be too focused study. I said, girl, you don't know me. I don't study. I'm not really here. These next 4 years is not about to be studying. I didn't even step foot into a library until my junior year, and that was only because it was COVID and there was like nothing else to do. If I had straight shot college years and no COVID in the middle, I would have never touched a library. I'm not a study school gal. Then she tried to claim, well, I'm scared. What if someone hacks into our TV and shares some horror movie in the middle of the night? Girl, little did she know, she was the horror movie coming back, blackout drunk in the middle of the night, trying to bring guys into our dorm room. And when I would say, no, you're not about to be fucking here. If you want to go do that, you should go do that elsewhere. But also, I would just kind of take her in and I'd be like, no, she's clearly blackout drunk, incapacitated, drooling on the sides of her mouth, eyes, lights on, open, but clearly no one's home. You know that drunk look? There's like a specific drunk look when people are wasted and it's like lights are on, but no one is home. So I would take her in, and then if I had like friends over and we'd be like watching a movie or whatever, she would just come in and start getting undressed and start saying all of her traumatic upbringings. And there was one time she knew she was a bitch to me because there was one time she came home blackout drunk in front of my friends, started undressing herself, getting naked as she does. And I was like, okay, sorry guys, movie night's over. My fucking blacked out roommate is home and getting undressed, and she's going to be hanging off the side of her bed, and I'm going to have to tuck a plastic bag under her cheek so she can throw up all night long. And one of these nights that I was taking care of her drunk ass, she literally proclaimed to me, Katie, I'm so sorry I'm such a bitch to you. Like, you are nothing but nice and gracious to me, and I am just a raging fucking bitch to you. Like, I hate you. And I was like, enough said, girl. People hate each other. That's fine. We were friends and we were close before this. Clearly living together is not ideal because you are fucking mentally ill. And don't get me wrong, I was also very mentally ill my freshman year. Like, before I went to college, I literally just did a whole week with grippy socks, no floss. So into college, I'm still fresh off mentally ill, but I knew how to like dead that shit because I had seen the Western care side of things, and I was like, oh no, we need to suppress this mentally ill shit deep down. But her mentally ill was like super rigid, super restricted. And if you know anything about me, or if this is your first time meeting me, I'm sure you can already tell I am a fucking free kindred spirit. So having rigidity and having strictness in your life, like living together, that lifestyle is not going to work for me in any case. The rigidity would be, not only does she want no TV because there's all our time needs to be dedicated to studying, whatever the hell that means. Who really needs to study? I never needed to study to get good grades. I just needed to show up in class and pay attention, and I would absorb everything like a sponge. I never needed to spend hours outside of class going over material. As long as the teacher talked about it and I was there and I actively listened to it, and for the most part I was sober, I got it, we're good to go. But she'd be so rigid in her study, and then she'd also be rigid in what she'd eat. She'd like weigh out her blueberries Monday through Thursday, so she could only have like 7 blueberries because it was like 4 grams of blueberries or whatever. She would be super rigid in the way that she ate, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday would binge drink into oblivion, but also binge eat. There would be times where I would come home and the whole side of her room would be covered in chips and candy bars, and it looked like the inside of a 7-Eleven threw up on her side of the dorm room. And I was like, this is severely mentally ill. I'm not judging. Placing judgment is to say that something is good or bad. I'm not here to judge your actions. All I know is that I don't want to be around that. So after like 1 or 2 weeks of dealing with her bullshit, I meet this other guy on campus who's in my economics class. He's a year above me, so he has an apartment down the street from my dorm room, and I basically live with him. He asked me to sleep over one night, and I never left for the year. And then the next year we were like, oh, we should sign a lease together because we're a boyfriend and girlfriend. Big fat fucking mistake. Don't ever live with a significant other in your early 20s, college days. So close the chapter on freshman year roommate disaster. Sophomore year college roommate is this boyfriend who, at the time, I was super open to being like, hey, we got each other's back. It's cool to mess around, but also if I'm open to you like hanging out with other people because I'm fresh, hot shit. Like I want to hang around and fuck around with other people too. And he just had to sell me on this lie, had to sell me on this story talking about I want to marry you, I want to be exclusive as you and me, we're the dream team. And my naive dumbass fell for it. He was a shitty roommate because honestly, he was the best roommate out of all the roommates that I had. Wait till you get into the rest of these stories. He was just shitty because he cheated on me when we lived together. And I was like, you didn't even have to cheat, you stupid ass. Like, you could have just told me, hey, I want to mess around. I want to explore my options. And that's what I was advocating for. But you had to go sell this story about wanting to be exclusive. So now you're stupid. Now you've cheated. Now I'm throwing away all of your clothes and wrecking all of your designer shit and throwing your shoes down the garbage chute. Don't fucking cheat on me. But he was the best. He was the best roommate because he would listen to me and he was scared of me. And that's how I like him. Cut to junior year, I have 3 roommates. So now it's like, ooh, she only had 1 roommate. She had 1 roommate. And now she got 3 roommates in a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment complex. And one of the roommates ends up transferring to a different school. So then we have to get a sublease, and it's like a younger sublease. Don't really remember too much about her except her being nosy as shit. And then those 2 roommates that I had. So this is the original nightmare that I had. It was a guy roommate, a girl roommate, and then the sublease roommate. But we're going to write off the sublease roommate because I didn't really know her.
from the get-go. But I was friends with this guy and this girl also since my freshman year. The guy was actually in the black camp with me. So I had known him at this point for 5 years. First time living together. We'd got on really well until we didn't because his friends decided to drug and rape me. So what can you do? I'm not going to be friends with someone like that. Unfortunately, how campus leasing worked was that you had to sign the lease. Like, school started in August, September, right? You had to sign your lease in October if you wanted to get one of like the hot shot good apartments for the next year. So you essentially are signing your lease a year in advance to when you're actually moving in. So I signed the lease with this guy and this girl that were my friends. And I'm like, let's live together. We'll bounce to this other apartment that's across the street, but it's still super close to the business school because we all went to the business school. Bada bing, bada boom, we'll make it work. Unfortunately, the spring of my junior year, I had already signed the lease fall of junior year, spring of junior year, that whole criminal case happens. And this person, the guy, is, adjacently involved. The girl that weekend happened to be out of town. I don't know if she was in on it and decided to be out of town or if that just was chalk it up to chances. That's how things worked out. Who knows? It was the girl that I had the nightmare about, which, funny enough, I end up seeing her. She like moves to the Minneapolis area and I end up seeing her post-grad. And I remember when I saw her, I said, hey, I stuck my head out the window of my car because she was like walking in this parking lot. I said, hey, and she looked at me. I swear to God, I'd never seen the blood drain out of someone's face so quick. She literally went pale, translucent white and like jacked it to her car. And I'm like, girl, that's how you know you did me wrong. But basically, it got tumultuous in that junior household because, hello, I'm trying to process being violated in such a horrible way. It wasn't just like slip a drink, slip inside her, send her on her way. It was like, slip something in her drink. Her inner warrior, her Genghis Khan DNA is going to come out and fight the shit out of us. So we're going to have to fight her back. So I walked away, piercings teared out, bruises, face swollen, like mutilated body. Like, it was a violent crime. I mean, it's violent nonetheless because it's a violation of someone's bodies. But sometimes people walk away without a cut, without a scratch, without a bruise. Honey, I walked away with all the bruises, all the cuts, all the blood, all the puffiness, everything. And so one day, my junior year, I think it's in the summer, that stupid fucking subleaser, I did end up apologizing to her like years later. Don't think she ever read that message, but I saw that she was stalking me on LinkedIn. I said, girl, if you want to know what's up, here, let me tell you what's up. She turned on the blender. My blender, by the way. Okay, a majority of the shit in the apartment was mine. And I was cool sharing with everyone. But if you're going to turn on the blender at 5 a.m., I am going to rip you a new asshole, pour gasoline in it, and light you on fire. And that is exactly what I did. And that is just a trauma response of all the anger that I was feeling. I didn't feel safe enough to put it onto the criminals that had assaulted me. I put it on to the people that I lived with because it was safe enough to do that. It wasn't right. I'm not justifying that. I'm just putting context of like, hey, your mom comes home after a long day. You forgot to pull the chicken out the freezer and she's lighting up your ass. And you're like, oh my God, I just forgot to pull up the chicken. But really it's because she can't yell at the people at work that she wants to, but she can yell at you because it's a safer, low risk option. Kind of similar example here. I lit these bitches on fire. I'm also a very big clean freak. I am like AAA plus anal clean freak. And these people were just not as clean as me. I remember one time they would not clean out the sink after they were done using the sink. And I literally sent a video of me washing my dishes and then afterwards take the sponge and like wash the sink down. And I was like, if you don't do this after you clean your dishes, you're a dirty whore. Verbatim. That is what I sent the video and that verbatim message to my roommates at the time. And guess what? The sink got cleaned after that. And probably to this day, the sink that they have gets cleaned because of me. That's just how it goes. I will eat your soul, but you can have it back when I shit you out and everything is better out my ass. Now, I had to live with these other two roommates because I'd already signed the lease. What can you do? It was hard to find good apartments that were close to campus so late in the year because this had already transpired in summer. We were about to like move in again together in 2 months. And my senior year living arrangement was hostile as Fuck, bro. It was traumatic as shit, too. Because we all move in at separate times. I move in early. So I had rapidly moved out the summer before, the summer after my junior year. That lady put the blender on and I lit these bitches' asses on fire. I said, you dirty fucking peasants, you disgust me to my core. I can't believe you get to breathe life on this earth. Like, I am so ashamed to be breathing the same air as you in these confines. I packed up all my shit in 8 hours and I fucking drove home. 2 months later, I had to return to campus and unpack all my shit. Like, we were gonna live together and they weren't talking to me. I'm remembering. Oh wait, I think this is after the senior year apartment. Okay, so I move into my senior year apartment. It ends up being a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. So that means 2 of us have to share it. And we had already agreed when we weren't fighting before the whole fiasco happened that I was gonna get the room with the bathroom inside of it. And so I moved in early. I got there. I put all my stuff away. I put all my stuff in the kitchen. And then I think I'd go back home for another week or two because classes weren't starting. And I was like, I'm not going to be living here on campus with these people if I don't have to be here. So I went back home. And then when I come back to campus, when school is starting, I see all the shit that I put in the kitchen, like general shit, the cutlery, the blender, the pots, the pans, all of that stuff that we shared last summer. I kind of just stripped them for it. Imagine your roommate lighting your ass up and then just taking everything and you don't even have like fucking soap or paper towels or toilet paper to use because I supplied fucking everything. So anyways, come back into this new apartment. They had taken all my shit out of the kitchen and they put it in front of my door with a scrappy ass note with some badass chicken feet writing that said, something along the lines of, obviously I don't remember this part verbatim, but it was something along the lines of like, if you want to take, like, since you took everything out of our last kitchen, you don't get to have anything in this kitchen. So I, in my senior year college apartment, had to, had to build a kitchen in my little hallway. So the apartment was like, here's the front door. And then immediately in front was the living room. And then to the right was the kitchen. And then to the left was a small, maybe like a 8-foot hallway. And then my room, I had to buy like stools and carts to put all of my cutlery and my plates and everything. I had to build a kitchen outside. They wouldn't let me put anything in the actual kitchen. Not that the kitchen was that big to begin with anyways, because you know how college apartments are for the most part. They're pretty shabby and small. And I remember one time my friend came over and we were making something and it was like risotto or whatever. So we needed a bigger pan. And I said, oh yeah, let me go get the pan. And he was like, go get the pan. What do you mean? The kitchen's over there. Kitchen's over here. I had to walk into my room, into my bathroom. I had to keep extra pots and pans and extra kitchen shit in my bathroom. And I remember pulling the pan out from like under my kitchen sink. And the guy was like, what kind of fuckery are you living in, Katie? And of course we were high as shit. And we just like fell to the floor and we were laughing so hard because that's funny. That's funny to be like, yeah, come over to my place. Let's make a risotto. And then he's walking to the kitchen. He's like, wait, you have to go to the bathroom? Why are you walking to the bathroom? I'm like, oh no, I just gotta go get the pans. I gotta go get the pots and pans that we cook with that I have to store in my fucking bathroom because I live with 2 rat dipshits that won't talk to me but will leave me nasty letters about how much I'm a fuck up and how I'm a mean, scamming, lying, manipulating bitch or whatever. Like, whatever. It's just like, these people were just so petty and so insecure and such losers. Like, if you want to call me a bullshit, bat crazy liar, say it to my fucking face, but you're too fucking scared, so you're leaving me little notes and then locking yourself in your room so I don't bang down your door and literally eat your soul again. So that was the college roommate experience. It was very tensions high. The girl ended up graduating earlier and then she wanted to like get a subleaser. Funny enough, she wanted to get the subleaser that was like this Italian guy, and I was like, listen, I'm just gonna have to veto this. I already am not comfortable with the one guy that's living here. I don't really feel comfortable with the new guy living here. Funny enough, I end up being friends with the new Italian subleaser because he ended up moving with other friends that I had on campus. It was just funny. It was like, oh, I would have lived with you. It actually would have been fine. It would have been chill. But I just denied her that subleaser, and then she didn't find anyone else because she felt like I was being a stick in the mud of, well, Katie's just going to deny all the subleasers that I bring up, so I guess I just have to bite the dust and pay the second half semester. And it was like, yeah, you did. And even on graduation day, mind you, we just survived 4 years of college. me and the guy now are like, we did our 3 years of black camp together. We did our 4 years of college grad. We had our, turbulence towards the end there. But I wrote him a message towards graduation. I said, you know what? We just survived like 7 years together. I know it's been tumultuous. I am not holding anything against you. I want to let things go. Like, I'm wishing you the best. This is a time to celebrate. I want to have people like our friends and our family over for graduation. And I'm going to be buying like drinks and food. So just let me know how many of your friends and family are coming, and then I'll make sure that there are enough drinks and food for everyone. So this is me trying to just like squash the beef, move on, and then offer up not condolences, but what is it, like offer up like a gift. Like, this is my peace parting gift. We're about to graduate. We're going to move on from each other. I said some horrible things. You did some fucked up things. Let's marry the fucked up things over me buying drinks and family. Buying drinks and family, although I could buy your family if I wanted to, but buying drinks and food for your friends and family. Just give me a tally of how it could have, he could have responded with a number and been like 9. And it would have been like, okay, I'm going to be preparing shit for, 9 extra people on top of my people. But instead, this motherfucker decides to write me the lengthiest, longest text talking about how I'm not going anywhere in life. I'm such a loser. All those nights I spent working on my startup aren't going anywhere because I'm just a pathetic piece of shit, that this world would be better off if I wasn't in it. And, and I remember reading that text, laughing, deleting it, going in to block his number and then delete his contacts. I was like, all right, so we're done. Like, I've tried to give my good graces and goodwill, and you just don't want to accept it. You don't want to accept it. That's fine. We'll move on. So those were all of my horror college living experiences with roommates. There is the common theme and pattern that I was friends with all of them, or I had close relationships with these people before I moved in with them. So for me, one, I will never be living with someone ever again, okay? I live alone right now, and it's great, and it's peaceful, and I used to pray for times like these, okay? I used to be on my hands and knees crying in my bathroom, begging God to give me and provide for me a safe sanctuary, a haven, because I've just been in tumultuous living situations. It didn't get much better after after I graduated either, because I just moved back home with my mom, and that was me coming home crying about my dad freaking losing his mind and having Alzheimer's, and her cussing me the fuck out for her to like march up to my, Kitty, go to your room. Go to my room, I lock my door. She's banging at my door trying to fight me for bringing up some bullshit with her ex-husband. I'm in my bathroom crying, sobbing, like, please, God, I can't be 23 years old fighting my mom anymore. Please, please bring me some haven. And then 2 years after that, I moved into this luxurious $1,000,000 McMansion. It is beyond my wildest dreams. But the second I stepped into this home and they told me that the countertops were quartz, I said, I had a dream about this. So that's a great bookend. Started with a dream, started with a nightmare, ended with a dream coming to fruition. So that was it. It was good. I think this might be it. I was going to take you on a whole vlog, but like all I'm going to be doing today is laundry, car wash, massage. You've seen the car wash. You've seen the massage. If you're new here, hey, hi, how you doing? You'll see the massage in any other vlog that you go see. So I feel like this is it. This was just like a sit down catch up. Worst roommates I've ever had. Will never have a roommate ever again besides my dream boyfriend / partner that I'll have in the future, who will cater to all my needs and be even richer than I am. So there will be no qualms over cleanliness. No more living with dirty whores. The second half of my life has officially begun. Yeah, so I'm not going to take you along for the rest of the vlog because it's just going to be like a boring vlog, and I feel like this was a sit down story chat. We haven't sat down and chatted in a minute because I've been taking you all around town. But this was good. This was fun. It was unexpected. One of the Windows guys, he like saw my setup here with the camera on the tripod and stuff, and he was like, "Oh, like, are you a podcaster or something?" And I was like, "No, same guy that I vehemently, well, I don't think vehemently is the right word to use here, but where I was like very apologetic of thank you so much for showing me grace." I literally said to him, I was like, "Thank you so much for showing me grace this morning. Like, grace doesn't cost a thing and it goes a long way. So I really appreciate it." But I had explained to him, like, I had this nightmare and I didn't mean to oversleep, or, I didn't want to have any sense of like disrespect. You're coming to my house at 9 a.m. I'm not fucking opening the door to 9:18 because I'm in the depths of a fucking nightmare. Like, that's on me. And he was like, "Oh, you doing YouTube? You're doing podcasts or something?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know, I do YouTube. I you know, turn my misery of the nightmare into somewhat of a comedic story and put it on the internet in hopes that people laugh at my misery." And he was like, "Oh, well, I hope you have less misery in your life." And I said, "Hey, what's a good life without some misery?" All right, thanks for hanging out. If you have any horror or not horror, don't be trauma dumping, okay? Well, nobody wants that. And also, that's like your sacred information. Don't just release that, without some sense of like protectiveness over your own shit. But if you have any funny stories, any horror stories, any great stories of roommates that you had in college or otherwise after that, I know some people go on to like live with roommates for a while before they live on their own. Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear. If not, it is what it is, you little shy bastard. But just know that in this corner of the internet, you are safe and you are protected. And if someone tries to say some shit to you, I will block them. I will cuss them out and then I will block them. Okay? I got you. I will protect you. And thanks for hanging out. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. What's a good thumbnail for like horror? My top horror college roommates stories. Just kidding. That can't be the thumbnail, but what else could be another one? Like, options, babe. You gotta have options.